Hi everyone. This video is not going to be long at all. The topic of this video is the title is Can Children Go to Hell? So I think it's important that you watch the reincarnation video because it gives you a lot of insight. And I've also put other videos on my YouTube page that talk about children and accountability and whether or not they can go to hell. I don't know that I've mentioned them being able to go to hell. But just in case I have not, this video will give the answer. So, can children go to hell? Let's talk briefly about the age of accountability. The age of accountability is the age that a child gets to when they're old enough to answer for their own sins. Usually, it's about around the time that they reach puberty, usually about 12, 13 years old. But it could be sooner depending on the child. Every child is different, and so is their level of maturity. So, um, when a child is 12 or 13 years old, they know right from wrong. In American society, they teach you that a person is not an adult until they're 18 years old, but they already know right from wrong and have been knowing right from wrong for years before they even turn 18. Um, we have to listen to our bodies because our bodies tell us that we are able to reproduce and be parents at 12, 13 years old, so we are able to be responsible for another life. So if we're able to be responsible for another life, then surely we're accountable and responsible for our own. There were cultures, and um, groups of people throughout existence that allowed their children to get married at 12, 13 years old. They were considered adults. They had their own families. Now, because we baby our kids and we don't allow them to grow up, and we've set a society to where you can't work until you're 16. And so the kids couldn't earn a living anyway. Then they're pacified with TV, technology. But there was a time when none of this existed and children were 12, 13, 14 years old, getting married, having their own families, being accountable. Just because we have created a society where they're not accountable does not mean the Lord does not hold them accountable. So when they reach the age of accountability, and again, it varies per child, some children are more mature than others. When they reach the age of accountability, they are responsible for their own sins. So I consider someone who is 12 or 13 a child, and most people do, but that does not mean that the Lord considers them a child. Again, they have to be taught to repent and have a connection to the Most High, because if they're not, they're probably not going to repent for their sins. And even though they have reached the age of accountability, they have no connection to Him. They don't know how to repent of their sins. And now this child, or I would consider a child, is holding on to their sins instead of asking for forgiveness and releasing them. Whose fault is that? That's the parents' fault. That's society's fault for not teaching the children to repent. Because the Lord is a holy God. Yah is holy. And we don't seem to understand how holy He is, and that you have to repent to get to heaven. And people think that children are given a free pass just because they're a child. But again, just because we see them as a child in this society does not mean that the Lord sees them as a child. Remember, if the Lord has created our bodies to give birth and to be parents at 12, 13 years old once we reach puberty, and we are able to be accountable and responsible for someone else, then surely we are first accountable for ourselves. So, to answer the question, can children go to hell? Yes, they can go to hell. If they've reached the age of accountability and have not repented, they can go to hell. 12 and 13 years old to us is a child, but again, that does not mean that they are a child to the Lord, because we have to pay attention to our bodies. Our bodies are able to reproduce at 12 and 13 years old. So we should be mature at 12 and 13 years old, but we pacify our children and don't force them to grow up and to learn. And I mean, there was a time when, 12 and 13-year-olds would be babysitters, babysitting other kids, taking care of their siblings. Now, I don't know that it's so much the case. It seems like, I mean, sometimes it is, but it seems like a lot of these kids are pacified with TV and with social media instead of, reading Bibles and things like that. But anyway, yes, children can go to hell, to answer the question. That's why it's important, extremely important, that you teach your children how to repent. So if you made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell so that you're aware when I upload more videos, and I will see you in the next one.